Let's begin with a thought experiment. Imagine you're at a high-end dinner party. Crystal glasses are clinking, soft jazz is playing in the background. You're smiling, engaged in a conversation about portfolio returns. Everything feels perfect, civilized. Then, for just a split second, an image flashes through your mind. You stand up. You flip the entire table, sending expensive china shattering everywhere, and you let out a roar from the very depths of your chest. Did your fingers just tighten a little? Did you feel a shudder of lost control, quickly followed by a wave of shame? Don't look away from that feeling. Let's stare directly at this crack in our polished veneer. It is time to acknowledge it. That fist you clench on the steering wheel in rush hour traffic. That cruel sentence you knew would hurt someone, and the dark little flicker of satisfaction that came right after. Or that hollow emptiness you feel after a bout of rage or even intense euphoria when you look at a stranger in the mirror and think, was that really me? We are all system trained to be proper, controlled, elegant. Society is like a piece of precision machinery, and we are the polished cogs that keep it running smoothly. Anger, envy, greed, the urge to just break things, they get labeled as the beast, locked away in the basement of our minds and treated like foreign invaders. But let us think about this. If we could surgically remove all of these exiled parts, the self that wants to smash things, the self that lashes out, all those dark fantasies, what would be left? Would it still be you, or just a pale, agreeable, flawless shell? Here lies the paradox. We spend our entire lives trying to tame this inner beast, to prove that we are in control. But what if that beast is the very source of your vitality, your passion, your drive? What if the tamer is just the most elegant cage you ever built for yourself, all in the name of safety? In other words, when you try to kill the beast, are you actually murdering the most real, most authentic part of yourself? Hold on to that question. Let's walk down into that basement together. We're not going there to indulge or to judge. We're just going to witness. Because the real danger isn't the existence of the beast. The real danger is pretending it isn't there day after day, until it finally grows so powerful that it consumes you whole. Are you ready? Let's dim the blinding lights of civilization for a moment. Sometimes in the half-dark, we can see things much more clearly. Stick with me on this journey. You've seen it now. You want to push it back. But wait, where does this beast come from? The psychologist Carl Jung would say, it is not a flaw, it is your foundation. He called it the shadow. Not a stain, but the entire shape cast by your conscious light. It holds everything you decided is not me, the traits your world sentenced as wrong. Here is the brutal truth. The harder you reject it, the stronger it grows, because it never disappears. It is only denied. Like a silenced person, it will find a more twisted way to scream. That unexplained anxiety, the outbursts of rage, the self-sabotage often, it's not the beast rebelling. It's the systemic collapse from long-term repression. You think you control the beast. The beast controls you through symptoms. What would the philosophers say? Nietzsche would tell you, your so-called beast is the Dionysian spirit-life's primal frenzy, the true source of creation. Modern society, with its Apollonian order, overcorrects, creating pale, timid last men. You fear the beast because you fear the danger in raw vitality. But no danger, no transcendence. Schopenhauer would note grimly, the beast is the blind will to life. Appetite, lust, the drive to possess these forces that propel you are, at their core, a source of suffering. Civilization tries to harness it with reins, but it forever growls beneath. The deeper trap? Our culture rigs this game to be unwinnable. Consumerism constantly stokes the desire beast. You deserve it. Release your true self. Yet the rules demand you suppress the impulse beast. Be a team player. Be emotionally intelligent. You're trapped in a schizophrenic system. They feed the beast, then blame you for not keeping it quiet. So you develop sophisticated survival strategies. Projection. That loud colleague you despise might mirror the very traits you suppress. self-flagellation. How could I think that? I'm terrible. Your loyalty pledge to the civilized world. Performance taming. You showcase restraint. The more flawless the performance, the louder the chains rattle in your basement. You believe this is a war between your noble self and base animal. But is it possible both combatants, the whip-wielding tamer and the caged beast, are puppets in a larger script? And the real you, the audience watching this play, has been pushed to the sidelines? Feel the depth of the trap? This is not a personality flaw. It is a cognitive prison built from psychological defenses, philosophical binaries, and social conditioning. The most fundamental question might be, is the very act of splitting me into light-dark the origin of all this suffering? The beast is not the enemy. The endless civil war itself is the grand illusion. If this illusion isn't broken, where does it lead? This war is not a private quirk, it's your operating system. And its output is a slow, invisible cost. First, you become profoundly numb. When you pre-screen every strong primal emotion and quarantine it as beastly, your emotional spectrum atrophies. Rage dilutes to annoyance. Euphoria flattens to contentment. You're safe, but life loses its color. You wonder, why does nothing excite me? Because that beast is the very intensity of being alive. To neuter its wildness is to neuter your capacity to feel. Second, you're stuck in an energy black hole. Your mental energy is wasted on internal policing. Like a company spending capital on surveillance instead of innovation. You're exhausted not from doing, but from being at war with yourself. Should I be angry? Do I deserve this? The commentary never stops. Third, your relationships become a masquerade ball. If you can't face your own beast, how can you truly see another's? All connections stay shallow. No expressing real frustration, too brutish. No showing vulnerable need, too greedy. No offering fierce love, too intense. So relationships become transactions of politeness, or battlefields for disguised control, projecting your disowned beast onto your partner or children. Zoom out to society and you see the macro costs. Cultural shallowness and displaced violence. Repressed energy must find an outlet. Hence, online hate mobs, permitted beast release, consumerist gluttony, glamorized desire beast, sensory bombardment entertainment, safe adventure experience. Suffocated creativity. True creation springs from wild intuition. If generations fear the irrational, where do breakthroughs come from? We get refinement and endless competition inside existing boxes. Systemic hypocrisy. When appearing civilized outperforms being authentically complex, hypocrisy becomes the optimal strategy. Virtue signaling in public, beast indulging in private. The scariest part? It all happens underwater. You don't suddenly break, you slowly wilt. You adjust to life in the cage, even decorate it, and critique other cages. You forget the feel of free breath, mistaking gentle suffocation for peace. But is this the full truth? Are we doomed to swing between fake peace and sporadic collapse? Is there another way not to kill the beast or be killed by it, but to forge a new relationship? The path exists, but it demands a more fundamental rebellion. A rebellion against the mindset that you must be at war with the beast. Ever feel like there's a war going on inside you? A battle between the person you're supposed to be and this wilder, messier, more primal part of you. The part that gets angry, jealous, or just wants to tear everything down. We're taught to tame this beast, to lock it in a cage. But what if that's the wrong approach? What if that's the very thing keeping us from being truly powerful? The first and most radical step is to stop the civil war. Start a dialogue. The next time you feel that surge of rage, or that sting of jealousy, don't just shove it down. Try something different. Acknowledge it. Say, I see you. You're here. No judgment, no panic. Just notice its presence. This is what Carl Jung called shadow integration. You can't get rid of your shadow by pretending it's not there. The only way is to bring it into the light, to understand it. That urge to smash things? Maybe it's a cry against a cage you've put yourself in, that jealousy. Maybe it's pointing to a deep need for your own self-worth. The beast is often just a clumsy messenger, using raw screams to deliver messages your polite, rational mind refuses to hear. This brings us to the second move: redefine the beast. It's not a demon, it's an exiled part of your own strength. Think about the most powerful figures in history and art. Van Gogh's so-called madness was the very engine of his revolutionary creativity. They didn't slay the beast. They learned to ride it. They harnessed its raw power and made it their own. Its energy became their energy. So the third crucial shift is moving from performing perfection to experiencing wholeness. Society loves the performance of being stable, positive, and selfless. But that performance is the cage. Real life isn't a flawless show. It's a deep, messy, and full experience. It means allowing yourself to feel the entire spectrum of being human. The light and the dark, the noble and the petty. Wholeness is so much more alive than perfection. So how do you do this in real life? Give the beast a creative outlet. Sing along to loud rock music, write furious poetry, hit a punching bag. Try small controlled experiments in rebellion. Take a deliberately unproductive afternoon. Say no to an invitation you don't really want to accept. Wear something that breaks your usual persona. Find your own wilderness, a forest, the ocean, an empty street late at night, places where you can shed the social armor and just exist. There, you can hear the beast's breathing more clearly. Now, this isn't an easy path. It means facing uncomfortable truths. The old you might start to crumble before a new, more integrated self is born. This is the pain of waking up. But you're not releasing a monster. You're welcoming home an exiled king. All that fragmented power is finally returning to its throne. As you do this, you'll start to notice shifts. The energy you once wasted on fighting yourself is suddenly free. You feel more potent. Your creativity flows. Your relationships deepen because they're based on who you really are, not who you're pretending to be. You'll still feel anger, but it becomes the power to defend your boundaries. You'll still feel desire, but it becomes the star that guides your journey. You'll still feel fear, but it becomes a wise sentinel, warning you of real risks. The beast isn't gone. It's transformed. And when you follow this path to its end, when the tamer finally drops the whip and the beast steps out of the cage, you see them face each other. Not in a standoff, but in a profound silence. And then you realize the staggering, simple truth. There were never two of you. There was never a monster called the beast and a hero called the tamer. That whole epic, life-draining civil war was an illusion. A play you wrote, directed, and starred in yourself. What you called the beast was just the raw, unfiltered part of your life force. The primal shout of, I want, I hurt, I am. And what you called the tamer was that same life force, just shaped by society into, I think, I plan, I adapt. They were never enemies. They are two dialects of the same you. Think of the ocean. When it's calm, it's a mirror for the sky. In a storm, it's a world-breaking force. Is the calm ocean the true ocean and the storm a false one? No, they are both the ocean. The real you is the totality that contains all states. You are not the beast or the tamer. You are the space where this whole drama unfolds. You are the awareness that witnesses it all. This changes everything. It explains why suppressing your feelings feels so empty. You're denying half your vitality. It explains why pure indulgence feels terrifying. You're ignoring your need for order. And it explains why integration brings so much power. You finally stop the energy drain of self-division. True strength begins with this complete self-knowledge. You stop managing yourself and start knowing yourself. Like a seasoned sailor who knows the sea, when to ride the wind, when to stay in the harbor, and when to steer right into the storm. They aren't fighting the ocean. They're dancing with it. So look at your life again. Those dark impulses you're ashamed of? They might be your life's most honest cries for help. The cage door was never locked. It was only held shut from your side by your own fear. Now you know. Breathe. Feel the deep, primal pulse and the surface level, refined reason coexisting in your body, harmonizing into the symphony of a single life. You are all of this. You are not divided. You were always whole. This is what coming home feels like. Thanks for watching.